So I'm currently in the process of playing every single zombies map with randoms. I actually played every single World at War map specifically with my friend Humvee and his brothers recently. So I think I'm have a really good fresh mind on ranking every single zombies map in World at War. Every Wednesday or so, I'll be like doing a different game. So next Wednesday will be BO1, the Wednesday after BO2, so on and so forth. But I think you guys are going to be interested in my list. I just want to point out this is my opinion specifically. And I'm really biased in World at War specifically, on maps that have like the most strategies and just how fun it is and how replayable it is in general. So that's the criteria. It's my opinion. I'm grading on how fun and how much stuff you can do on these maps. And yeah, I think you guys are going to like it. So let's get right into it. So sadly and unfortunately, yes, the worst map in World at War is the first map ever being Nocturne Toten. Now I just want to point out like right away, I do not hate Nocturne Toten. Keep in mind there is only 4 maps in World at War, and World at War is a solid game as a whole. But I think Nocturne Toten just doesn't offer. I think it offers the least out of any single map in World at War. Now I don't, like I said, I don't hate Nocturne Toten, but the biggest thing that just bugs me about it is how slow the rounds are. I think it takes me like 25 minutes just to get to round 10, which shouldn't be a thing on any zombies map. The rounds are painfully slow. They are so painfully slow. I don't think it's really replayable because I think the other maps provide way more things like perks and better box guns, whatever. And it's not Noct's fault. Noct is the first map, but objectively, it's got to be the worst map in World at War, and it sucks, but it just has to be the worst map in World at War, unfortunately. So sadly and unfortunately, I know this is going to crush my friend Humvee's soul. Number 3 is Shinonuma. Now, I just want to point out, Shinonuma World at War is not my favorite version of Shinonuma, and when we get to Black Ops 1 next Wednesday, I will be adding all the World at War remakes in that game. So Shinonuma World at War is not my favorite version of Shinonuma at all. Now, I think it's just because of how World at War works. I feel like the ray gun is painful to use in World at War. I feel like I always kill myself with it in World at War. The splash damage is really bad. But the Wunderwaffe in Shinonuma World at War is probably the best Wunderwaffe of all time, because obviously it doesn't work in Deriz. But in Shinonuma, it's amazing. This map introduced a lot of stuff. It introduced Ultimus for the first time. It introduced the Hellhounds, the first like boss zombie with like max ammo round. It introduced the random perks. Obviously, you go into a different part of the map, the perk will be random depending on where you are. And I don't know. My problem with Shinonuma compared to the other maps ahead of it, which is obviously Deriz and Verrucht, I feel like there's less things to do in Shinonuma to get to a high round. I'm more so a co-op player, so keep that in mind. One person can train by the blogger trap in the middle by the box. You know what I mean? And everyone else has to kind of camp or do something weird. Now, unless you're playing with 4 people and want to camp by the perks, I mean, it's a really challenging thing. And Shinonuma is a challenging map. I just feel like the lack of strategy to do in Shinonuma kind of brings it down a little bit. But it does have the first great wonder weapon that has infinite damage, being the Wunderwaffe, and it works the best in Shinonuma, like I previously mentioned. But I don't know. Shinonuma just doesn't have the spark that the other 2 maps have to me. And because of that, it's got to be at number 3. So unfortunately, yeah. So I imagine by default everybody thought Deriz would be the best map in World at War, but shocker, it's number 2. Now, like I said about Shinonuma, this is like just the World at War versions of these maps. So, I mean, the World at War version of Deriz is my least favorite version of Deriz out of any version, including the Giant. So, what's wrong with World at War Deriz and why is it not number 1? Well, number 1, it's obvious the Wunderwaffe is, the whole situation of it taking your jug is stupid, and I know you can just counter that by playing co-op and just playing smart. But that shouldn't be a thing. You should be able to use the Wunderwaffe on Deriz normally like you can in Shinonuma. And it used to be just the Pack-a-Punch version was broken, so you just wouldn't Pack-a-Punch it. But now it's both versions of the Wunderwaffe take your jug, unfortunately. And it sucks because the AI system, like the zombie AI system in this, how the zombies hit you and how they feel in World at War and how clunky they are, it's the worst in any zombies map ever. It is the worst in World at War Deriz specifically. Now, I don't know why you get stuck on them more, seemingly, but you get stuck on them, you can get destroyed. You can get 2-hit in the most glitchy way. You can get red screen just by barely scraping them. I mean, the most unpredictable and wild stuff happened in World at War Deriz, and it's unfortunate because this map has a bunch of potential. I love obviously Pack-a-Punch being a huge thing is amazing. The World at War guns, like the box weapons especially, those are like really fun to use. But they can only bring you so far, and you need an emergency gun like the Wonder WaW, but it doesn't even work. So it's pretty difficult. There's a bunch of strategies. You want to camp at the catwalk, you can camp at the catwalk. You can camp at the room below Jug, kind of by the trench gun area. You can camp in the Thompson room if you want to with your buddies, or you can camp in the Type 100 room by the teleporter. There's a bunch of strategies you can do in this, but the fact that this gun had a wonder weapon, the fact that this map had a wonder weapon, and you can't use it because it essentially kills you, really hurts it. And I think it's the worst version of Darius in World at War, and that's why it's number 2 and not number 1. So number 2 is Darius, shockingly. So I'm sure you guys can tell by process of elimination, the number 1 best map in World at War is Verrucht. Now, why is Verrucht better than Darius? So let's just start off with Darius' fatal flaw one more time. I think Darius isn't good, or isn't better than Verrucht in World at War because it had a wonder weapon that was supposed to work because of its craziness, but the wonder weapon didn't work. Now, Verrucht is just crazy, and you're expecting it to be crazy because there's no thing that will save you like the Wonder Waff would in Darius. Verrucht, you just know it's going to be an absolute slugfest because it's so unpredictable. They have the crazy sprinter zombies that are the fastest in like the older COD era, meaning World of War through BO2. I mean, it is just wild. The perks were introduced on this map, so there's actual perk glitches. Like, there's like a jug glitch where sometimes if you buy a jug, you won't die until you get hit like 11 times instead of the usual 5 because it was, again, introduced in this map. So there's some weird glitches to it. But those glitches in the World at War version of Verrucht just make it way, 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 way better because it's already super hard. You need a dedicated group of 4 people who have like good chemistry, communicate a lot, know what they're doing in their strategy, know their role in the strategy to get to even round 25. This map is just insane. I mean, if you open the wrong door in Verrucht, then you're done. Like if you're in your camping spot, you're done. And speaking of camping spots, there's actually quite a few camping spots. You can camp by Speed Cola, keep that door shut. You can camp by double tap. You can keep the door to the STG shut, whatever. Or you can camp by the STG. Just don't open the power door or have someone watch the power door if you had to open it that way. I mean, there's so much stuff you can do. You can even camp in the bar room. I've seen people do that. I disagree with it completely. I think that's a horrible strategy. But I've seen people camp in the bar room. I think you have to camp in this. And I know I said prior that I like having multiple strategies. But I'm a co-op player, and I love that everyone has to camp in Verrucht, and you know you have to. It's just a matter of what, like where you're camping at. And I think that just adds to the challenge that Verrucht already is. There's no wonder weapon. Your only wonder weapon is the ray gun, which again is probably the worst in World at War because of the splash damage. It is really hard not to kill yourself with the ray gun in this game. But, I mean, Verrucht is just super, super hard, and in 2025, it's hard to find a map that really challenges you. And the older games do that, but especially World at War Verrucht. It is probably the hardest map of all time, like without a doubt. Because, again, it's in World at War. The zombies are glitchy. They can destroy you. I mean, it's super, super unpredictable. It introduced the teddy bear, which means the box will obviously move. Everyone knows that. But it introduced that, so it caused more chaoticness. If the box moved into a place you were camping and you had to open that door, that could be a huge issue. So, I mean, Verrucht just offered so much chaos that you could not even predict or, like, just prepare for. So, I mean, it's just because of that. It provides such a challenge that no map does ever, like, really ever. And it was the second map ever made. So I think because of that, it's the best map. It is super hard, and a bunch of the maps are kind of easy, but Verrucht in World at War is just brutal, and because of that, it's the best map in World at War. So I gotta give credit where credit is due. World at War Verrucht, best map in World at War. So yeah. So now that we're done with the actual ranking and stuff, I just wanted to point out this is my first time doing commentary, so if I was weird or cringy, I'm sorry. And I do mumble a lot, so if you don't understand what I say, I mean, that's perfectly understandable. I do mumble from time to time. I'm not the best person at speaking clearly sometimes, but I did my best. I shared my opinion, and I think I had fun making this. So next Wednesday, I will be doing the BO1 maps, worst to best. Will include the classic zombies. So Kino through Moon, BO1 Knocked through BO1 Darius. Every single one of those will be ranked except for Dead Ops. I don't care about Dead Ops Arcade, so I'm not going to be ranking Dead Ops. But every single other, whatever, every map will be ranked in that. So, I mean, yeah. I'm excited for that. I'm excited to see what you guys think about this list right here. I know people thought by default Dury should be the best in World at War, but like I said, I like Verrückt better. So I mean, my opinion is different than the majority of the zombies community, which means I think it's different, and you'll get a good shock. And I always love debating my opinion with other people. So I mean, if you disagree, let's talk about it in the comments. I'm totally okay with that. But yeah, I don't know how to do an outro, so I'm just gonna awkwardly cut this now. So ta-ta for now.